thought, in America, that they would do this? Doesn't it tell you?
And there was no, when you asked them, there was no response. They didn't tell you why your emails were shut down?
No, they absolutely did not. And my staff is looking into it right now. But it's just mind blowing to me.
Pete, there's nobody to call at Google. There's no Google phone number. There's no customer service. I mean, that's the irony about how big they've become. But go ahead.
Well, okay. Well, we can. I'd like to linger on that, but that's okay. So I think that so it's very interesting to me having this conversation and being on with folks, and I'm familiar with everyone's work here, the rabbi's work and Eric's work. And what's interesting to me is what's so important now wasn't important before. And this is interesting how the culture has shifted and the times have shifted. So now metaphysics is really unimportant, whether there was a talking snake, whether someone walked on water. It just seems like such quaint questions, and having debates about these things seems so rather silly. I think what's important now is that we all share a mutual threat, and that is we're in the middle of a cultural revolution, and we see that the society is under siege by maniacs who've taken control of our institutions. And it could very well be that Eric's story is a simple example of that, where people try to take away our liberties. I can't speak to that, but I think that you're right, Dave, that wokeism, it's a universal solvent. It is the Achilles heel of not just liberalism, but it destroys absolutely everything it touches, even the Southern Baptists. And so what I think is really important in this conversation are some of the things that three people of different backgrounds can agree upon. And I'll throw this out possibly as a conversation starter. We all agree on the rules of engagement. So those rules of engagement are conversation like we're having now, I guess debate if you have to, but they're dialectical, they're speech. So we agree on that. I'm not going to call David, I was going to say something that I probably should
some bad name.
David,
Exactly.
A bad name.
Try not to get me booted off YouTube. I've already got my taxes on here. Come
on. So I'm not gonna smear people. We're gonna converse in good faith. We're gonna have that conversation, and we're gonna be willing. Certainly, I would sincerely say I'd be willing to change my mind, and my guess is that your guest would too, if presented with sufficient evidence.
Hey, it's Cam. Recording the DailyDaamn to re-upload today from the Rubin report. Not familiar with either of the guests that he has on today, but I figured I would upload a little piece that I did agree with. As far as everything that the gentleman just said, I put my stamp on. When it comes to being woke, I think it has turned into a politically correct movement, the very same movement that had Aunt Jemima removed from the SERP, that had Uncle Ben removed from the rice, that had people thinking about renaming John Wayne International Airport. In order to have these discussions and figure out how we want to shape our culture, because that's what we're doing right now. We are shaping the culture of America for generations to come right now. And so creating a dialogue where we can openly talk about all of these things. That's what DaamnTalk is. Don't just obey. People precede information.